2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Is it that time again already? By golly, it is. Welcome into the program. It is a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. And boy, do we have a lot to get to today. We have Joe Biden. I think he's truly lost his mind. I don't think he understands the severity of what he's getting into with some of this scandalous activity that's going on with him and the family. Like the entire family. It's not just Joe Biden. It's the entire family that we have to be aware of. And it's not just the whole Biden family, but there are many other politicians that just have a lot of issues going on that I think are a little wary of it all unfolding here very soon. Welcome into the program, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. However you may watch or listen to the program, we appreciate you. We are live streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also on Parler and Minds.com. We do have it going on there. You can find all of it at Hooser Reason. Again, at Hooser Reason on all those social media sites, or you can go to the website and watch it live stream there as well at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. And speaking of, as you know, we are getting close to the end of the month. We have our newsletter coming out soon. We have had an awesome amount of people over the last week or two signing up, subscribing to the newsletter, which is free, and you'll get that at the top of each month. I think it's going to come out on Election Day because that's just a really cool day to do it. So we'll come out on Election Day. So if you have not done so yet, go to HooserReason.com, sign up for all that good stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We have a lot to get to today. We have Joe Biden's issue. We have the GDP that is up and booming right now, 33.1% growth in quarter number 3. President Donald Trump hyping that as a way to say that we are coming back. We're seeing the V-shaped recovery moving on up very quickly. And then, of course, because it's not supposed to be that good during a pandemic, we have Joe Biden on the other side saying, oh, it's not very good. You shouldn't pay attention to those numbers. So apparently he doesn't want the economy to recover, which we kind of knew. I mean, we had AOC and some others tweet out just a few months ago, we should really keep the economy shut down so that way Trump can't say that it's his economy, because they want you to punish for their political gain to say how bad he's actually doing. It's wild to think that people are that narcissistic, but they are. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. How do we come back to common sense? As you know, the show is called The Voice of Reason. We like reason. We like common sense. We like rational thought. I like debating. I love debating. I try to bring on people from the other side of the aisle, and we'll spar and have a good time as long as you have a somewhat coherent thought. I want to hear it. I don't just want to hear, you're a racist, because that doesn't help anybody, does it? It really doesn't. I like to have those coherent conversations. So how do we bring it back? How do we bring back common sense, reason, ethics, moral, rule of law, where people actually get punished under the law for bad things they do, and they don't just get swept under the rug because they're politicians or they've been there for so long or because they're so rich or because they're a celebrity or any other garbage. I want to talk about some of that and more, where it takes a revolution sometimes, not usually, hopefully, a whole pitchfork and firearm revolution to take over everything, but a revolution to fix things. And that's what we're talking about here on the show today with our next guest. I'm excited. By the way, at the bottom of the hour, Liz Harrington, Republican National Committee spokesperson, she'll be joining us. But right now, I'm really excited to talk with the author of the book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. He is the founder and former chairman of the successful nonprofit foundation Judicial Watch. Oh, we've talked about them a lot. They do a lot of great work. And now he's the current chairman of Freedom Watch as well. Larry Klayman hanging out with us here on the program. Larry, how are you, my friend?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's really great to have you on here.
My honor.
It's great to talk to you because I've loved a lot of your guys' work with both Freedom Watch and Judicial Watch. I mean, the investigative work that you guys do and that you try to come out with to try and clean up the system, to expose some stuff in the system, it's so needed because that's what journalism should be, but yet we don't get a whole lot of that in the mainstream media today, do we?
No, we don't. And what we also don't get, and you alluded to it coming into this interview, is that no one at the higher level is ever held accountable. Not in my lifetime, not in your lifetime. You're younger than I am. But they get a pass. They walk. Because what we have in Washington is an establishment of both political parties, not talking about President Trump, but the Republican and Democrat establishment to protect each other. It's like the National Football League and the American Football League all rolled into one, same league, NFL. Yeah. And consequently, we've been drifting downward very, very fast. We've almost hit rock bottom when it comes to the rule of law, respect for the Constitution, and ethics and morality. So I wrote this book, and it's different than the other books that are out there right now. You can get it at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all the booksellers. It takes a revolution, forget the scandal industry. And what I'm saying is that, and it's dedicated to Thomas Jefferson. He said that federal judges in particular, he opposed them being put as part of the Constitution with life tenure. He said eventually, because they're unelected, they would become despots. They would become tyrants. And ultimately, we would have to shed the blood of patriots yet again to preserve liberty and freedom. Now, he didn't really want to do that. He was making a point, and I don't want to do that. But without federal judges who will protect us from the tyranny of the two branches of government, the other two branches, and from ourselves, then we are left defenseless. So it's not enough documents under the Freedom of Information Act and then ask the government to do your bidding, because the government will not represent we the people. It's broken away from us. And that's why I wrote this book, because we need to rise up. We need to turn off Fox News, cable news, if you're a leftist, MSNBC or CNN, although they're not going to obviously agree with what I wrote, to say the least.
Right.
And we need to take matters into our own legal hands. And I make various proposals in this book on how we can do it. So it's different than the other books that are out there right now, which basically says, here are the horror stories of the last 4 years, vote for Donald Trump, or contribute to my group. It's not a question of that. No matter who wins this election, and I hope that it will be Trump, it will not solve the problems in this country that we currently have. Even the president, they attempted in the deep state to destroy him, and they nearly have.
Yeah.
The legislature, a bunch of fools and clowns and criminals stuffing money into their pockets, and federal judges who get their job primarily through political campaign contributions and other patronage. And one guy, just as an example, and I'll give you back your show, Andy, one judge in Rhode Island, just one example, a friend of Sheldon Whitehouse, I call him Sheldon Outhouse. You saw him on TV during the Amy Coney Barrett confirmation, actually paid almost $500,000 to get himself a federal judgeship. That is not that unusual. It is an amount, But these judges are bought and paid for, and that's the problem.
It's so frustrating, and I'm glad you brought it up because there's so many different directions that we could go to here. But let's talk about the fact that I think that's the reason Donald Trump got elected, isn't it? I mean, people are tired of the inside politics, the pay-to-play, whether it's with our foreign policy like the Bidens have done, obviously, with all this emails and confirmation that's coming out there, whether it's the pay-to-play for a judge to be on a seat to actually pay to actually get that done, for the illegal registrations with illegal voting that goes on, with just the omnibus bills where we just throw in stuff for certain districts to be able to get money, and how politicians become millionaires out of nowhere with special interests. People are tired of it, and we've always joked about hating on politicians, but it's gotten to a point where I don't think many, both on the left side of the aisle and establishment, even on the right side of the aisle, understand why Donald Trump got elected. And it was because he was an outsider that was self-funded, that didn't have to abide by special interests, that wanted to get stuff done. And whether you like or not what he got done, he's been one of the most productive presidents in 4 years, and I think any other president has been able to get done.
Well, you're right. I mean, I've been constructively critical, but I've in effect at Freedom Watch been his law firm. See, the difference between Judicial Watch, which I founded and ran for 10 years, and Freedom Watch today, which I run, is that we do a lot more than just getting documents. Okay, so we bring hard-hitting cases. We have clients. We're trying to make change. The documents are good, but the documents are not going to solve the question. That's why the judges will turn over the documents, but they won't take any hard actions, generally speaking. And that's why now we have to go to things like citizens' grand juries. In 1992, the late, great Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, one of the few good ones, said that the grand jury belongs to the American people. It does not belong to the three branches of government. And consequently, we can hearken back to the days of the Old West when the people impaneled grand juries, when the people tried cases, when sentences were meted out if there was a conviction and arrests were made. There is a right to do citizens' arrest. Now, I don't advocate anything violent or in any way physical.
Sure.
But the American people need to take back our legal system like our founding fathers did in 1776 when King George III stole it and took it back to the Court of St. James, took away our criminal justice system. That's what's happened today. Because these judges, and as I say in my book, it takes a revolution. Figuratively speaking, the chapter on the federal judges is First to the Guillotines, is that they are the ones who are the biggest problem. Because without them, what choice do we have but to wage another violent revolution? If they're not going to solve the question, and the president can't do it, you can see Attorney General Bill Barr, who I call Blowhard Bill, hasn't indicted one person.
Yeah.
Not Comey, not McCabe, not Clapper, not Brennan, not the Lovebirds, not Bruce Orr. He's declared the Bidens who've committed crimes, we now know, the Clintons and the Obamas off limits. And that's because in Washington, D.C., it's mutual assured destruction. Because of the mass surveillance that's going on and other means, they have dirt on everybody, and it's ground everyone to a halt, and the judges will not enforce the law against the higher-ups. How else could Hillary Clinton have gotten away with all she's gotten away with all these years?
Exactly. We're talking with Larry Klayman, author of the book It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. He's also the founder and former chair of the Judicial Watch, also current chair of Freedom Watch, which you can find online, freedomwatchusa.org. Let's talk about what we can do here. And we got a couple minutes left before we have to let you go, but what can we do with this? How do we fix it when it's so corrupt inside? I mean, one man's trying to fight it. I don't know. Hopefully he's going to get reelected. I believe he's going to get reelected. But can one man do this, or is it going to take us to continue to battle this and fight it from the outside?
He can't. I mean, he needs our support. But he's only there for 4 years. There's no political messiah. He will likely be blocked on a lot of things by Congress. And, of course, the judiciary tries to slit his throat. We've seen what's happened so far with these leftist judges. And unfortunately, the judges that he has appointed, he doesn't know who he appointed. I've been in front of 8 of them. I go through my experiences in this book, It Takes a Revolution. Again, you can get it at Amazon.com. They have lacked courage. They were put up by Republican lobbyists, establishment lobbyists. The president rubber stamped them, approved, and then confirmed. They're not the courageous people we need. So therefore, we need to use tools like citizens' grand juries and other means that I say in my book, I'm not going to give it all away, to ourselves enforce the rule of law. Because if there's no enforcement, look at the leftist hordes roaming the streets.
Yeah.
And if the president wins, and I pray that he will, every major city in this country is going to burn. Looting, maiming. They'll be on your front lawn asking for the keys to your house and your car eventually.
Yep.
Because they're socialists, they're communists, they're radicals. And who is going to enforce the law but for ourselves, the people of the United States? So I'm also saying, not in an offensive way, but use your Second Amendment rights. Make sure that you can protect yourself. Make sure that you can defend yourself because they're coming for us.
Yeah.
And the radical left, frankly, and this may sound harsh, wants us dead. They literally want us dead. They want to take the country over.
It's a wild time. It's a wild time. We need to be prepared for it. Larry Klayman, It Takes a Revolution. Find it on Amazon, also on the website, freedomwatchusa.org. Larry, it's an honor to talk to you, my friend. Let's do it again here real soon. What do you say?
Look forward to it, Andy. You have a great show and a great delivery. Thank you.
I appreciate it. You as
with
well.
Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you, and I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, doesn't matter where you're at. Thanks again to Larry Klayman coming on the program. Big guests. We are rolling in these awesome guests. I love having them on the program, especially going into election time. You need to know. You need to know this information. Even if you're like, it's all right. It's all right. Joe Biden, he can do dealings with China. He can do dealings with Ukraine. He can hold $1 billion to Ukraine, depending on if they fire a prosecutor. He can do, I don't really care. I just don't like Trump. You know, if you know all of the facts and you still choose that that's your prerogative, but you need to know. It's your right to know this information, who they are, what they do, everything. Andy, what about his tax returns? I don't want to hear about the tax returns. You do realize that Donald Trump's released more documents about his taxes than anybody else before. Hundreds of pages about his taxes, just not his tax returns. Why? Because they're under audit. So he can't, and he will as soon as it's done. It's a crazy time right now. He mentioned something that is a little disturbing, and he's absolutely right. As we talk about a revolution, trying to talk about restoring the rule of law, it takes a revolution, not just pitchforks and guns, but a revolution. A silent revolution for you and I to actually fight these things. It does take that, and we need to fight this, and we have to continuously fight it. I tell you what, Joe Biden, the reason he's coming out and trying to say what he's saying right now, which he said, according to Fox News, he called his son Hunter Biden the smartest guy I know and completely avoids any of the questions regarding any of the dealings, any of the conspiracy, any of the scandal that's going on right now. He's completely avoiding the entire thing. I don't think they know how to respond. And I want to talk about it later on in the show, a little bit later, but I don't think they understand the severity of this. They've never had to question this type of action. To them, they've been in this game for so long, it's just the norm. And that's why you and I are angry. That's why 4 years later, Donald Trump goes to a rally in Nebraska with 25,000 people, where 7 of them go to the hospital because they have they're cold and they get hypothermia, but they go to a Trump rally because it's that important to them, and they chant, lock her up, because we're tired of politicians not answering for the things that they do while they say they're for us, and they do the nice little political speech, and then they go about their day. We're done with it. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a little bit. I do want to real quickly mention, though, according to CNBC, USD GDP booms at 33.1% rate for quarter number 3, which is better than expected. It was expected to be at 32%. It's at 33%, 33.1 to be exact. U.S. GDP accelerated at 33.1% annualized pace in the third quarter, according to the Commerce Department. What does that mean? That means that we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and the economy's growing. Donald Trump says open things up. Do you realize that why I think Donald Trump's going to get 320 electoral college votes is because every single small business person, every single worker is sick and tired of staying at home and not having a job because we're told that a virus is really, really scary when you can go out and you can protest and you can burn down buildings, when you actually have a 98% survival rate of it. Literally a 98% survival rate of it, when they try and manipulate the numbers and say, well, don't wear a mask because you're going to be messing with it, and you're going to be rubbing your arm, and you're going to be moving around, taking it on, taking it off, and then you're going to spread the virus anyways. Viruses can actually get through the cloth mask, so it doesn't really matter. It can get in our eyes, so now they're talking about putting goggles on too. Like, we hear all of this stuff, don't do it, and then they say do it, because even if it solves 20% of the chance, it's still better. If we can save one life, then go ahead and do it. But yet then we see the protests outside. Can't go to church, but you can go and burn down a building and loot a store. You can break into, I saw the latest, in Philadelphia where they're doing that. I saw them breaking into the GameStop. I did not realize that social justice, by showing police brutality, meant to break in and steal a video game from GameStop. I was not aware of that. Now that I know it, I need to find some way to be very angry about social justice so I can go break into a GameStop and I can go steal a game. There's a new game coming out in November that I told the wife that I really need for Christmas. I don't play many video games. I don't have time to play a lot of video games, but there's one that I'm really excited about. So maybe I just need to be very angry about social injustice and go and steal it. What do you think? Think I can do that, pull it off? I'll have to work on that one. Tell you. I'm telling you, I mean, that's how I show my social injustice anger in the world. And then it'll all be solved. When we come back, Liz Harrington, Republican National Committee spokesperson, will be joining her to see what's going on with the latest last few days of the campaign. Stay here.
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast, Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices. From iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn, make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, all over the country, wherever you may be watching or listening. We appreciate it very much. We have limited time, so I want to get right into our What's Trending for the day.
What's trending today?
She is extremely busy because, we're only just days away from a major national election. So, spokeswoman for the Republican National Committee, I'm excited to have back on the program, Liz Harrington with us. Liz, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I am living the dream. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know that you have some TV stuff to do in just a little bit, so I want to jump right in it with you. We are just days away from this election. We see Donald Trump going absolutely crazy. 2-3 rallies a day, all over the place. Joe Biden sleeping in his basement. Are we feeling pretty confident going into the last few days here?
Oh, we're feeling great. And the president is just on fire lately. Him and the First Lady were out there on the trail today in front of just an enormous crowd in Florida. But that's just, one stop. He's planning 5 rallies a day. He's putting it all on the playing field because we know how important this election is. It's our peace, our prosperity, our police, our law and order, our education, our choice, our freedom. All of this is on the line, and look at those economic numbers that came out today. That is a V-shaped recovery despite what Democrats have done playing politics with this pandemic from communist China, despite California and New York still, and Michigan and Pennsylvania still locking down their Democrat governors with their just foot down on our freedom. We have to reelect this president for that economic recovery to continue. We know it's at stake, and the president is out there. He's working tirelessly, just like he's done ever since he came down that golden escalator. He's worked to earn America's votes. He's delivered for the forgotten man and women, and we know Americans are going to reward him for that hard work because he delivered. He did something that we've never seen in certainly decades, certainly in my lifetime, but perhaps ever. He has done the impossible. He keeps beating expectations, and he keeps following through on this novel idea in politics on what he said he was going to do. And Americans, that is something that we believe in. We believe in hard work. We believe in freedom and opportunity, and we believe in winning, and we're certainly not tired of that yet.
I can't believe it. I've never seen Donald Trump, or I've never seen anybody work as hard as what Donald Trump works. I mean, when we hear the 20-year-old interns not being able to keep up with what he's doing, it's absolutely phenomenal. So, when anybody would step back, any political analyst would step back and take away the names, the face, the reputation of the candidates and see one guy doing 2, 3, 4, 5 rallies a day the week leading up to the election, the other guy showing up on a street corner once in a while. Any political analyst would come out and say, wow, this guy's going to dominate this election because look at all the hustle he's putting into this, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why, all they have are the same failed tactics of the past. They've got the suppression polls. They've got the media bias more than we've ever seen. They're literally censoring information, this damning evidence that's coming out against Joe Biden is corrupt, failing. We just got something across the wires that the FBI's open an investigation into his family because there's bribes here, there's racketeering here, there's really damning stuff in bed with the most horrible people on the planet. Communists in China. You've got business associates of Hunter Biden going missing. But let's just put all that aside. Just like you said, Andy, if you look at this man on one end, President Trump, who's out there every single day, crisscrossing around the country, talking to Americans about what we care about, talking about the issues. Joe Biden took last week off. He was off 4 days out of 5. He didn't go out there. He's doing maybe one event a day. They get him across the street from his basement in Delaware, 15 minutes away for one event. We had to, browbeat him out of the basement at the start of this week. He's not working for you. And you know what? He never has. In 47 years, it makes a heck of a lot of sense now. Now we know why he didn't deliver a good deal for American workers. Why did China always get the better end of every deal? Well, now we know. Why is natural gas, supporting that in Ukraine with Hunter making $83,000 a month, but he's at war with natural gas here in Pennsylvania? Why is that? Oh, because he sold his office to the highest bidder, and he thinks he's entitled to power because he's a Democrat. Well, I've got news for him, and the American people have news for him. We take pride in who we vote for. We can see how transparent this is. They're just using him as a vessel for the radical left-wing agenda that wants to destroy this country, that stands against our founding principles, that says we're systemically rotten and irredeemable and deplorable. No, America is the greatest country on earth. President Trump believes that with every fiber of his being. That's why he works so hard. That's why he's delivered so much, and that's why he's going to win a second term.
Amen to that. Liz Harrington, 20 seconds. I know you have to run, but the polling, all the polls show that Joe Biden's still leading in those swing votes. Internal polling, are you guys seeing anything different?
Don't believe the public polls. They're a bunch of nonsense. We have so much energy on the ground. We're in such a better position today than we were in 2016, and I think it's going to blow everyone away. I don't think the media is going to be able to recover from this because they've been so complicit, arm in arm, lockstep with the Democrat Party. But people see through it. They see the truth, and we have so many freedom-loving Americans who didn't even vote last time, who've waken up, and they've seen what's happened, and they love their country, and they want to go out and vote to defend it, and that's what's going to happen on November 3rd. I
love to hear it, Liz Harrington. It's always an honor to have you on the program. I appreciate it very much. Hopefully we can get you on shortly after the election and get some good news from you.
Absolutely. Everybody get out and vote.
Get out and vote. I love it. Liz Harrington right there with the RNC. We appreciate that very much. I know she's got to run and do a TV deal, so we'll swing from there, but we appreciate her time. There we go. Had to switch over with the screens there, but I appreciate her time very much with Liz Harrington from the RNC.
And as we talk about the big issues of the
this is what it's all about, getting the word out. Do you realize, and I've said this before,
and I want you to join
but if
us
you notice
the
the Trump campaign, the Republican committee right now, the Republican Party as a national level, they are the most transparent grassroots group I have ever seen in my entire life in politics. You tried to do that during George W. Bush. You tried to do that during John McCain. You tried to do that during Mitt Romney's time. You tried to do that during George H.W. Bush's time. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It was very the establishment, very federal, like, oh, you need to get us. Only ABC or NBC or CBS or any of these big ones can actually get an interview with us. These guys are all over the place.
This is your show.
We've had so many senior advisors from Trump's campaign.
So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason
and the Hooser Media with the members from the RNC on this show. And we're not the largest show yet. We're still growing. We're doing well, but we're not growing yet. So we're growing now, but we're not as big as some of those other ones, obviously. So we're doing well, but they are the most transparent grassroots campaigners. And they go from doing a national TV to doing a show like this. So we appreciate that very much, and those guys are awesome. Let's get into what's trending today. What do you say?
Subscribe to the podcast and have the show
What's trending today?
And there we go. I realized that I did the wrong screen, so everybody watching the video is like, what are you doing? That's trying to do live radio, baby. That's what it's all about. So Joe Biden calls Hunter the smartest guy I know amid questions over the business dealings. He is the smartest guy I know. That's from Fox News. Let me ask you something for just a second. Anybody buy a new car? I want to try to use this analogy for a second because I don't think they realize the severity of this. I don't think they realize what kind of scandal is actually happening here. They don't get it. So I want to ask you a question. Maybe this will maybe put it in perspective to understand when they try to deny, when they turn the other way. I know that's the mentality that they always like to do. It's like the kid that gets in trouble, that hits their sibling, and then when the sibling starts crying, they're like, I don't know why they're crying, but they're annoying. Make them stop. I didn't do anything, Mom. Can't prove it. Right? It's what they do. Anybody buy a new car ever in their life, like a brand new car right off the lot, got the nice new features, got the sunroof, it's really pretty, got the all little special features, and you have no clue how to ride this thing. You know, obviously, how to put it into gear and how to drive it, but you don't know all the special features to it. It's got the camera that's in the back now that you can look at the little screen to show you how to back up properly. It's got maybe some like massagers on your chair and like, oh, that's nice. It's got the air conditioning on one side with the heater on the other side because the passenger of the wife likes always really cold, so she's always got to have the heat on. That kind of thing. All the features, you have no clue how to use any of that stuff. All you know is that it's a really fancy, shiny, pretty car, and you're going to learn it as you go. Right now, that's Joe Biden and really the entire establishment Democrat Party because they have no clue what's coming. For years, they have done this with the corruption, with the behind the doors deals, with everything. The media, no clue how to actually anticipate what Donald Trump's doing. Wait a second, he's doing 5 rallies a day? What? No, he's not going to win. There's no way he's going to win. Joe Biden's going to roll this one, baby. Roll Tide. That's what they're going to say on election day, just like they did in 2016. There's no way Donald Trump's going to win this election. But yet he did. And he's going to. Big time, I think. I'm still predicting my 320 electoral college votes because they don't understand the times are changing. It's not the same old car from the 1970s where you get into it and it's the big bucket seats and you have very few features to it and you just kind of roll with it and you learn how to jerry-rig everything to make sure it runs properly. No, they're computerized now, to where they can track your GPS on everywhere you go. You got the camera to back up to where you don't have to stick your head out the window to look at it. You can do these things in a very easy fashion, but it's more transparent. It's a lot more technologically advanced, and it's a lot smoother system. Right now, we're upgrading in the political system. We are evolving in a Donald Trump world with cameras everywhere, with audio recordings everywhere. Joe Biden can no longer, after his 47-year career in politics, can say something at one group and then go and say something completely different to a different group. And then when they get caught, I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. You can't do that anymore. It's a different era. It's a different time. And Joe Biden has yet to catch on to that. I think most of the establishment government elites or Democrats or even establishment Republicans, I don't think they're aware of that either. They don't get that you're going to get caught up on all the comments that you've ever made. Now, because of the way technology is, you can't lie to the people. You can't promise a 10-year plan and then never fulfill anything and be like, oh, I'm fighting for you. That's why Donald Trump called him out during the debate saying that. Be like, that's a typical politician response and people are sick and tired of that and they're not going to deal with it any longer. Because it's a different time. It's a shinier car. It's a more technologically advanced car. And unless you're actually really careful, you're going to hit that gas pedal. It's going to have that V-chip in it. It's going to make you drive way too fast on the road, and you're going to crash into a pole because they have no idea what you're doing, and you're going to self-destruct. Right there is where the Democrat Party and Joe Biden is going into this election.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation one radio listener at a time, as one radio show host calls us the millennial general reporting for duty. I like it. Stick with that. We'll have to stick with that. Welcome back into the show, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting, wherever you may be. Find us on social media at Hooser Reason. Again, at Hooser Reason. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, on Parler as well, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, all that jazz. Plus online at HooserReason.com is the website. You can see the live streaming, the podcasting, sign up for the newsletter. You can see the schedule of events. You can see all the photos of all the good stuff that we're doing. We're just all over the place. All over the place. And we have a lot more coming up here very, very soon. It's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited about some projects coming up. I'm just, right now it's in limbo until after Election Day because we've been so busy with election time. that I haven't had time to do it all. But as soon as that's done, then we are jumping headfirst into some really cool projects. And within the next month or so, you're going to hear some really neat things going on. So we appreciate you very, very much. So I'm getting some comments on social media right now. And 320 electoral college votes are too low, Andy. Really, 320, too low. Now, we had a guest on 2 days ago that predicted 348. And he is more of an expert on predictions. Election predictions. He's done it for years. He's followed trends in politics since like the 1960s, and he follows all the trends. He predicted Donald Trump would win on Election Day last year, and 4 years ago, and he did, obviously. So he's making his prediction 348. I've been saying 320. According to Liz Harrington with the RNC that we just spoke with in the last section, she thinks that it's going to be big. She's like, don't listen to the polls. They are so off right now, which makes sense. When you have to fill 12 seats for Joe Biden to do a little rally, and I get it, they do the cute little circle, the hula hoop circle around them with the chairs in the middle in order to try and show the social distancing, and they're saying that Donald Trump's doing these mega spreaders for the virus. Well, you know what? Isn't that a good position to be in, as being in a mega spreader? Because you have a problem that you have too many people showing up in such close quarters because they want to see you. And it's not just like one a day. He's doing 5 a day, where he's getting 20,000 people each rally to show up. I mean, just by that, it's not the same people going from rally to rally to rally, even if it's in the same state. It's not the same people going state to state to state to go to these rallies. They are millions of people showing up to these rallies over the last 2 weeks. Millions. And Joe Biden can't get 12 people to a rally, but yet the polls, Joe Biden leading in these swing states. I just don't see it. Then you see this, according to Reuters.com and news.trustit.org, with the Reuters Foundation News, Americans plan widespread protests if Trump interferes with election. Now, wait a second. I didn't know Trump was going to interfere with the election. And this is something that's been lingering on the back of most of our minds, regardless of who wins, which I think Trump will win very handily. But whether he wins or Joe Biden wins, there's going to be a lot of friction in the nation. If Donald Trump wins again, the left side of the aisle will not accept him as a president like they have not accepted him for the last 4 years as president. They will delegitimize him. They will ignore him. They will justify ways that he is not a legitimate president, and they will do whatever they want to do. And they say if he wins, then it's because he has interfered with the election, because the media has done such a good job by putting it in the minds of drones and sheep and not so intelligent people that, oh, look at this poll. This poll shows that he's down. Therefore, if he wins, then he defied the polls, which means that he must have rigged the election. When Hillary Clinton says that we need to forcefully remove him from office with the military because he's not going to step down, and tells Joe Biden not to concede in any way, shape, or form in this election, they've already implanted it in the minds of the Democrats that if he wins by any means, it's because he rigged the election. On the other front, if Joe Biden wins, we know it's because they rigged the election, because we have actual factual evidence of that, like we just saw with Project Veritas and a few other sources that are continuously leaking these, showing that people are being paid to bring people to the polls and buy off certain elections. We've seen it. It's happening. Then we hear about the mail-in voting, where we see, all of a sudden, we forgot there's a whole bunch of ballots in the trunk of my car from mail-ins. I wonder who they could be for. Hold on a second. Let me back my car up here and we'll count these. We know that's going on. It's fact. And if that happens, talking about a revolution from like Larry Klayman at the beginning of the show, not saying like physical violence to rise up, but there's going to be some form of a revolution because we won't stand for something like that. People are on edge on both sides. What's that going to lead to on election day with the election results, regardless of how it goes? Again, Trump's going to win, but what's that going to mean for either side who loses and who's not going to accept the terms and the results of the election? They've questioned Trump to try and accept the results. They haven't questioned Joe Biden when their side's the one telling him not to concede, not to accept the results until they start litigation. Kind of crazy. That does it for us today. Podcast going up a little bit. One more day to wrap up this week for election next week. Until then, everybody have a wonderful Thursday evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.